David C. Jones with Before the Curtain Goes Up, and the curtain's going up on a show that I loved when it came out, and I was a young man, locally written, and it's now coming back with the original director, but a whole new cast of angsty artists who are singing about their lives in the early 90s. And I'm talking with Nevada Banks. Nevada, how are you?
I'm good, David. How are you?
Very, very well. I'm so excited you're in the show because I saw it when I was wee with Karen Conoval in the role. What is it? Now, I'm assuming like a lot of shows that were written in this time period, you do kind of have to set it in period because the way even just telecommunications, that if I remember correctly, there's a lot of phone calls and stuff, and telecommunications are different now, so you can't modernize the show.
Yeah, well, it's funny, right? Like when it was written, it was just written about modern life, but now it's a bit of a historical piece, right?
And
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, the show, we'll talk about the show in a second, but if I'm not mistaken, too, the show also has in the background, it's not a main storyline, but in the background, AIDS is in the background of this show. And again, AIDS has changed so much in the last 40 years or 30 years.
Yeah, totally. There's definitely an undercurrent of that, especially with the Les character and some of his backstory. And he sings about it, but I don't know if you would necessarily know that's what he's talking about unless you knew that was what he was talking about. But we
Right.
know that's what he's talking about, if that makes sense. Like for the characters, that is definitely something that looms large.
Nice. Well, maybe we should explain because, of course, you know what the show is about, and I know what the show is about, or I have vague memories of it. But the people watching don't know what the show is about. It's about four friends. You take it from there.
Yeah, it's about four friends who are living in a big city. And maybe it's New York, maybe it's Vancouver. We don't know. I think originally it was New York, um, and they're sort of navigating their lives as single people and as artists, and sort of navigating their friendship as this tight foursome, and the pitfalls that can come with that when you have sort of a small group of friends. Yeah.
Right.
How
And
much do
one
you
of
want?
the inciting incidences, one second, let me just close down Facebook because someone's chiming at me there. Um, uh, the one of the inciting incidences is your character, because some of the characters are gay and some of them are straight identified, but your character has a dalliance with a lovelorn lesbian.
Yeah.
And that sort of sets off the crises in the show.
Well, yeah, so my character sort of has a crisis, which prompts her to act out in this way, um, which is, hurtful for the other person who is lesbian, but my character is not.
Yeah, it was a slight visitation or a small left. Now, this is like a chamber musical. It's just four people. And usually it's a small band or a piano. Do you have a band or do you have piano only or?
We have a piano. The wonderful Gordon Roberts is our piano player, and he truly, it's like he runs a marathon, just doesn't stop for him. And yeah, so he is our music.
Does he have a little snare drum at his feet that he can hit and keep rhythm?
No, but we were joking that he should do like Foley art and phone rings and all this stuff, but he
Yeah.
doesn't have enough hands and arms for it
and,
all.
and cymbals between his knees that he can go clack them together. Yeah, it's I had the sound I had the cassette tape for a long time and I love the music. It's very, very moody, melodic and just
It is. Yeah, I mean,
how
Dorothy's
would you
a
describe?
brilliant writer. It's moody, it's melodic, it's jazzy. It's somebody described it to me as Rent meets Sondheim, or like if Rent was written by Sondheim. So it's if you know anything about Sondheim, it's hard. It's really hard music
Yeah,
to
it's
pull off,
tricky.
but when you do, it's really beautiful.
Sondheim, yeah, I've heard artists who are doing like the big group numbers are going 2, 3.
Oh,
He did.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. You are trying to stay in time. There's only four of you, so you should be able to handle it. Uh,
Wow. Well, maybe we'll try. We'll still be going 1, 2, 3. He did.
nice. Now, what's it like working with Roy Surette? Is that he's one of the best directors in the city,
Yeah,
and he's done the show before. So, is this your first time working with him?
it is. Yeah, it is one of the main reasons I'm doing this show is to work with Roy Surette, and he's
Oh,
so
nice.
lovely. Yeah, he's so lovely, and he has such a history with the show, obviously, but because so much time has passed, it's really not a remount. Like
Yeah,
it's doing the show.
reimagining almost.
Yeah, totally, totally, and with different actors and all of that. But he's a delight. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, some of those actors have probably moved away, but I've had a few of them will be there at opening night, so that might be a little bit scary.
I didn't think about that. Thanks a
Oh,
lot.
sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that in your head. Karen Conable sitting in the front row. I wouldn't do it like that.
No, she wouldn't. I mean, her range, it astounds me. When
Yeah.
I see the notes that she was able to sing, I think, how is your range so broad?
Nice. Now, who is music directing it? Is Dorothy music directing?
Chris King,
Oh, he's lovely too.
he's
Nice.
doing a wonderful job, and he's got a lot on his plate. Like it's no small feat to be the music director of the show because it's all music. So
Yeah,
he's,
it's almost completely sung through, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, there are a couple lines that are spoken, but it's basically all sung. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I seem to remember that, and it's quite. I remember it being quite lively and lovely. Like I enjoy, like do you know what I mean? I thought I was that's why about the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Um, so what has been the biggest sort of surprise when working on this show so far? Because you still got a couple weeks before you open. So what has been something that as you've been rehearsing that you went, oh,
Well, I think I've never done a musical where it's sung the whole time. And in, musical theater world, the kind of idea is when you can no longer speak, you sing. Like when
right,
it is so heightened, you can no longer say the words. That's when the song begins, whatever that
yeah,
mood is. And so to do something that's always there is so exhausting.
yeah, I bet.
and, and the leap between doing it with the script and being able to do it without is a bigger leap than I imagined because when you are doing a scene where you're just speaking and you take the script away, you can sort of flub the lines and keep the scene going. But with a musical like this that's so technical, there's so much technicality with the pitches, the harmonies, the tempos. Um, so you've got all that going on, and some
Mm.
of if you miss one word, the train just falls off the track. So it's just a really big leap to the being off book part. Yeah.
Yeah, the other cast members are going, he did? Trying to figure when do we come in? Because she didn't say the whole line.
Yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
because this all the story is happening in song, if you miss something, it's like, what's the story, right? Like,
Totally,
yeah.
totally. So this is set in no city. For some reason, I thought it was set in Vancouver, but you mentioned that it might have, it's sort of New Yorkish, although it's not identified. It's not identified
Well,
where they are.
I,
Just
I
it's a big city.
I think it was originally set in New York. I believe, like there are a couple of sort of New York lines, but I think this time we're not like leaning into the New York. We're keeping the lines, but we're not sort of insisting upon it being a specific city.
So you're not having to sing with a New York accent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe what we should do now, because we talked about it. Well, do you get time off the stage? Because I guess mostly when Les sings, right? Like the
Yeah,
girls.
there's a couple moments where I'm off the stage and I'm changing or something. Not a lot. And there are quite a few moments where I'm on the stage. So the stage design is really interesting. And we sort of have our apartments on the stage. So there's times when we're existing in our world when somebody else is singing. So that's quite
Oh,
interesting.
neat.
Yeah.
Is it done in thrust style or with
Yeah.
audience on three sides?
It's thrust. I haven't seen the set yet, but it's almost like it makes me think of a piece of Lego. Like it has bits that come up and bits that go down. And anyways, it'll be really interesting to work on.
Oh, neat. And now you're not saying that they mechanically are going.
No.
It's just sometimes you're going up, sometimes you're going down.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
It
just
was
different
like, oh, the
elevations.
budgets at UP got really big. Nice. Well, here's your chance to sell this show. You're going to not read out the press release, but you're going to convince someone in Vancouver, right? Theater, like everything else, has become a bit of a challenge for people. The city has become, this is what happens when I'm getting political. This is what happens when you vote for right-wing governments. What? It became unlivable. But so you have to convince people to come and see this show. Like the weather's just starting to change. So they're like, I want to go to the mountains, right? And you're
Mm.
gonna go, no, 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 no. You want to come see this show, and you have to
Well,
sell them on it. Okay, ready? Three, two, one, go.
well, something that I do think is a selling point is it is a short show. It's only about an hour and a half. There is an intermission, but I think that is helpful when people are conceptualizing it and it's all sung. You're like, oh my God, am I here for 2.5 hours? But so it is short. It just goes. It doesn't lose its momentum. It goes and completes. And because it is all sung, there's something about the journey that you go on that's a bit unbroken. Where in a regular musical, and sometimes I think maybe people who aren't don't like musicals, they don't like that convention of I'm speaking and then here's the show. It feels so cheesy, whereas this just lives in this world where we sing our thoughts, we sing our life, and it just goes. And I feel like obviously I don't know because I'm in it and not watching it, but I feel like the emotional experience for the audience might stay in that heightened song place and be perhaps more heightenedly um, poignant as you go through.
Right.
No, I'll be interested to talk to the audience after and see if that's the
So,
case.
what did you think? Was this
Yeah,
worth your time? It
and
is. Yeah.
it's so beautiful, and there are truly songs in there that are just like that just stop you in their tracks. They're so beautiful, and I think there is something in it that everyone can connect to around relationships and yearning and loneliness and friendship. I think the themes are universal, even though, of course, the story is specific.
Well, and I think too, like your character is going through angst because they're not quite sure they want to do what they want to do, or if they can do what they want to do, which I think a lot of people can relate to too.
Totally. And I think they're, yeah, they're, they're struggling. We're all struggling, right? It's hard out there. And it's hard when you had an idea of who you were going to be, and life has different plans, and everything is what you make it. And
Yeah. Yeah. It's maybe not what you're doing, it's your attitude about what you are doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
I think I was one of the people who, when United Players under artistic director Sarah Rogers said, we're going to do When We Were Singing, I went, oh, how wonderful. So, because,
it's funny because it's yeah, like we've talked about, it is not a musical that lots of people know, but the people who know it from when it was done, back when it was done, are obsessed with it.
totally. Yeah. You can go into a crowd of people and mention When We Were Singing, and most of them will go, huh? And then
Yeah,
you'll see that one person who goes, oh my God. show. Oh, so you know there's something special there.
Yeah,
And they
totally.
are lucky to have you because you're a dynamo. Thank you, Nevada, for taking time out of your busy life to tell us about when we were singing. We look forward to seeing you there on opening night. We'll be sitting in front of Karen Carnival, blocking her view.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.